Hello, everybody. It's Frank, Everything Black. Thought I'd come on here tonight and talk about the legendary. I don't know why I'm doing this show, but for some reason I had a urge to do this show. Anyway, I want to show the difference. Somebody being happy and unhappy at the same time. How you want to get to that place in life you want to get to, and all of a sudden you see that it's really not what you wanted. It's what you wanted, but it wasn't what you felt like it should be. Because you learned all the turmoil that would come with all this. Not saying that you shouldn't be healthy and living good, but to say that if you get it the wrong way. But I'm going to let Little Richard tell you, and you'll see, I'm going to do two different interviews, and in each interview you'll see a difference in these interviews. And in both interviews, it seemed like this guy was not happy either way. But I'm gonna let him do it in his own words. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let me turn my music down first before I get started. So listen to Little Richard. YouTube, Facebook.
Little Richard, it's now 16 years since you had your first hits.
Yes.
Do you realize that, well, you must realize that at your performances now there are people who won't even... Little Richard, it's now...
When you look at him, turn it down. Turn it down. I'm sorry, y'all. My granddaughter's watching something over there. But anyway, I just wanted to say, you can look in this guy's eyes. I don't know if y'all can look in his eyes, but I can look in his eyes and see that he's hurting. I can see the pain of creating something and then people take it away and forget about you. You can see that he's maybe still using drugs, or he's going through something that has terrified him, or he can't believe how things are turning out for him after the fame. This is after you get to the pinnacle of your life. And then, like I said, white supremacy is very powerful. No matter which way it take you, and then it breaks you. You can see right here in this interview, in his eyes, he's broken. I mean, he's trying his best to be happy. He's trying his best to put on a show. But to me, I can see it. I can almost feel the pain. Let me get him on here. I'm sorry.
16 years since you had your first hits.
Yes.
Do you realize that, well, you must realize that at your performances now there are people who weren't even alive when you first began recording?
Yes, but I have woke them up now. Everybody that wasn't alive when I started and was gone, I have brought the spirit and put it on them. They have resurrected. They are here now and will be out there on Saturday night to hear me at Wembley Stadium when I'm going to let it all hang out. Could I say something?
Go ahead.
Let it all hang out with the beautiful Little Richard from down in Macon, Georgia. I am the king of rock and roll. Ow, ow, ow. My. I just had to do that. Now I feel so much better. I got it out.
Were you always so shy?
Huh?
Were you always so shy?
No, I'm not.
Reticent?
A lot of people say I'm shy, but
Tell me now, 56, you had a lot of hits. But before that, what were you doing?
I was a dishwasher at the Greyhound bus station in my hometown, Macon, Georgia. I had been washing plates for so long, I was tired. And I wrote Tutti Frutti and Good Golly Miss Molly and Bless Your Soul. I got out. Long Tall Sally just took me on to California, and I stayed there.
What sort of family background were you from, though? What?
I was from, my mother had 12 kids. I have 6 brothers and 5 sisters, but I was the best looking one of all of them. And I'm not conceited at all.
What do they all do now?
Well, I have a brother, he's a CPA. My sisters are 2 sisters, they're nurses.
But you're the only person that's in show
Yes,
business.
in show business. I'm the only one. See, because they don't like to dress like I do. I like to put it on.
I had noticed, actually.
I love to put it on. I like to shine. In fact, I think everybody's supposed to do their own thing. This is what you call doing your own thing time.
Do you always dress like that? Or?
Every day I go to the grocery store like this and people turn around. When I walked in the airport here in London today, a man dropped his cup of coffee.
I noticed you're wearing makeup. Do you wear makeup?
Yes, I do.
All
I
the
know
time?
that makeup. Just, just like when you toast your bread, I put sugar in your coffee. You're supposed to add a little touch to it.
Yes, I must remember that.
Yes, God. You're supposed to do it. I got a new record coming out. It'll be released here on Friday. And I'm also the emancipator of soul and the creator and the originator. My God. This is a little thing called Mockingbird Sally. It says, could I do a little of it for you just without music? It says, Mockingbird Sally lives in the alley. Yeah. Mockingbird Sally lives in the alley. Yeah. She lives around the corner from old Ramona. Everybody knows. If you don't, she gonna. You got to keep on pushing. Now you know you. That's the A records right here. And they go from old big fella. I was down there and I was so tired. I was tired. Have you ever? Bumps Blackwell, they did it. Then they met me down in New Orleans, Louisiana, wanted me to say.
Develop your particular style, your resonance.
For a singer, I used to sing opera. You didn't know that?
I didn't
Classical
know.
music?
No, I didn't.
You didn't know that?
I'm sorry.
Then I would sing rock. I was playing for the church. My grandfather was a preacher, Reverend Henneman. I used to play songs. He would just one more chord, and if more you give him, he'd still wanted another one. So I used to play Tutti Frutti and Long Tall Sally while he'd be preaching, but he didn't know it. They'd be shouting, throwing empty pocketbooks and purses up on the stage, whatever they call them in the country. And I played, and so finally when Lord Price heard me, and I sent a tape, and Bumps Blackwell met me in New Orleans. My first record came out and hit. And did you know that Elvis Presley and Pat Boone sold more of Tutti Frutti than I did? And I wrote it and sung it.
Did that bother you?
No, it didn't. It made me feel good. They opened the door that was locked and I couldn't get in. And I rode it.
But you got in afterwards.
Yes, I did. And now my wife and my little boy, they're happy with me with Tutti Frutti.
And then when you were really on top in 57.
I'm on top now.
Oh, but when you were really enormous.
You know, I'm sitting on up there. Yes, I did.
And what did you do then?
I went to study religion, from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday, Sabbath, and the Passover feast and all. And my people in there now, they keep the Sabbath, 7-day Sabbath.
You're Jewish.
My family.
Yes.
And so I went to school there, and I studied theology. And so after I came out, but I didn't go in. Never fans of my friends. We was so much.
Why did you drop out in the first place when you were?
Well, because
I'm having connection problems. So
we're God's bouquet,
yeah, hold
the
on.
children of love. And I just want to learn about the love of God so we can learn how to help and treat each other.
There was a story that you threw £8,000 worth of rings over Sydney Harbour Bridge.
I did,
Is that
and
true?
I would like to find that fish that got them. I don't know where he went.
You came back in 63 about, right?
No, I came back in 60.
Oh,
That's when I took the Beatles with me. See, I played Liverpool for Brian Epstein. He had a record store, and I took the Beatles and Mick Jagger with me. Mick Jagger was living on a truck. I had Jimi Hendrix playing guitar for me. I had Billy Preston on organ, James Brown, and Joe Tex was my vocalist. I had all of them. That's the reason
Yeah, according to Little Richard, he orchestrated all these famous musicians that came up behind him. At some point, he was teaching all them. They was listening to him. They was following him. And I'm pretty sure it hurt him for people like Elvis and this Pat Boone. I'm pretty sure y'all can go look that up. I know that Pat Boone didn't sing Tutti Frutti better than him. And I know Elvis probably tried to sing it better than him. But back then, they didn't let black artists in, right? But according to Little Richard, they opened the door for him. But you can see that hurt him. Right now, I believe this guy's on drugs or whatever. He looked real skinny, looked real frail. Now, I don't know if that's how he looked in the beginning, but that was one interview I wanted y'all to see. And I'm going to let him finish up just a few more minutes, then we're going to go to another one.
I'm the king. All of them came from me. Poor little old bit of me, a little Jewish boy, black bottom from Georgia. Me.
So he was basically trying his best to, from every interview I've seen of him, let everybody know that everything started with him, especially from the rock and roll side of things. But for some reason, for a brief moment in time, everybody believed it. That saw him when he first began. But soon after, when he retired that time, and I think he was on this show. Let me go over here. Let me see if I can get this other show up. Okay, this is the one I wanted y'all to see. Man, I gotta take the.
Chuck Berry, he is one of the undisputed giants of rock. From the day he recorded Tutti Frutti in 1955, his influence has been enormous. His life has been just as exciting as his music. It is impossible to imagine what rock. Yeah.
Didn't nobody know but I had
Let me
gotten
back it
tired.
up.
It would have got
Let
started
me
at
back
all.
it up.
Let me know what you think of it. If you hadn't
So Little Richard has changed. You can see he gained his weight back. He looked muscular. He has been preaching in a church. He got his own church, I believe, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna explain that in the interview. But I just want y'all to see. Look at the size of him, and look at that video that he did prior to this one. He looks a lot skinnier, a lot unhappy, but like putting on a show. I mean, he's doing the best he can. He's fighting whatever demons he's fighting to maintain his sanity. So you see that, I guess this is the time where he stopped. He retired, and he was, trying to find God, trying to find love, happiness. So I'm gonna let him talk about on this interview. I don't know whether this one was before the last one or after the last one. So, because he talked about the makeup and everything on here. So check it out.
Richard, how are you? Nice to see you, sir. Thank you very much for being here. In the very beginning of the show, I made a statement which I think is a pretty fair one. Let me know what you think of it. If you hadn't come along, or maybe rock and roll would have started differently or later. I'm sure it would have started sooner or later.
I don't believe it would have got started at all. I really didn't listen to him. But I had gotten tired of hearing about him, Tutti Frutti. And I sung to them.
Yeah.
Didn't nobody know what it meant, and I didn't either.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I should put that on record.
Yeah. You were in 1957. How long had you been performing as Little Richard at that point?
I had been performing as Little Richard from a little boy.
Yeah.
From a little boy, I was singing around Macon, Georgia, beating on the doorsteps. I would go around from house to house and beat on the steps, and people would give me a quarter, a dime, 50 cents.
But by 1957, you were an established rock and roll.
Yes.
And you were in Australia. You just decided, that's it, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Well, what happened when I was in Australia, then during that period, I stopped and went to school. I've never made this type of money, David. I was making $15 a week in Macon, and all of a sudden I'm making $10,000 an hour. So I went back to school to learn how to count, to read, because I didn't know how. I needed to know how to handle the money. I had a lot of managers that was handling it a whole lot, taking it all, leaving me nothing. I didn't know how to count the nothing that they left. So I went back to school to study.
So, but at that time, did you get into religion, or was it?
Yes, Well, I've always been religiously inclined. My mother in Macon, Georgia, my mother has 12 kids, and I would have to go to church in order to go to the movie. I would have to go to church Sunday morning, the Baptist church, and that evening I would go to the movie. But I've always loved God. In my hometown, if you didn't love God, you didn't have nothing, because it was so prejudiced back in that time. I had to do what I was doing in order to survive.
Yeah. What do you mean had to do what you were doing to survive?
Well, when I was saying rock and roll, at that time they would call black music race music. When I sung rock and roll, I was on RCA Victor before Elvis Presley. They wouldn't put me on RCA; they put me on Camden. So when I would wear makeup, they would let me sing for the white girls. When I put on eyelashes and all that, they would let me sing. But when I went as a straight dude, they wouldn't let me sing.
Now why is that?
Well, they thought I wanted the girls. So if I came out straight guy, they wouldn't let me sing. But when I came out with all the makeup on and all the eyelashes and all the hair, they said, Richard is a good boy. I never was a good man, but I was a good boy.
Now, who is they that you're talking about here?
some of the whites in Macon, who I came from a little town. You
Yeah.
know, it was real prejudice back in that time.
Now, this is, as I recall, my memory of you is you were a peculiar appearing performer. You were not the guy running the 7-Eleven. Well, maybe you were, but you looked strange, you know?
Well, it was strange because didn't nobody else have nerve enough to wear what I was wearing.
Yeah,
I believe a lot of people wanted to look like I looked, but they didn't know how to put it on.
yeah.
I think that during that period that there was a lot of people that would love to have been flamboyant, you know, just like Kiss and Jimi Hendrix, which was my guitar player. He started out with me. Billy Preston, James Brown was my vocalist. Otis Redding, all the Beatles came with me. They started with me. Mick Jagger, all these people started with me.
So you, I mean, now taking another turn here, you really did have a dramatic impact and a great deal of influence on what would later become the mainstays of rock and roll music.
I was the architect of rock.
But my other question is, if you had these religious roots, wasn't it kind of a tearing circumstance for you to be appearing in eye makeup and so forth, and then also be a devout?
See, I don't know whether this. I forget this dang dude name, man. It's right on tip of my tongue. What show is this? Oh, Dave Letterman. I don't know what Dave Letterman is doing. I don't know if he's trying to joke or he's trying to make fun of him. I mean, I don't know what he's doing here, but the audience is kind of laughing when he's making serious accusations. He just said that I had to put on the makeup in order to get even on the stage. Because if he didn't act flamboyant and put on the makeup, they wouldn't let him on out there. So he couldn't be a real man. He had to feminize himself. Even though he was a gay LGBT person, he still had to, he probably didn't want to do all that. I don't know, you know, basically. I mean, he probably wanted to act it, but he didn't want to just have to be it, you know, because that acting, playing that way, eventually sold. And so he had to keep that up. Like, you can see a little bit of the flamboyant in when he talk and when he act, the way he act a little bit, but he's kind of suppressing it right now. So it's mighty funny that this Dave Letterman is trying to, I don't know whether he's trying to help him in the interview or trying to hurt him, but he's kind of distorting what he's trying to say about his religion and his rock and roll, and the difference, the split, the controversy of the way he act, the way he was dressing, the stuff he had to do, to now he's trying to be religious. So I don't know if Dave is making fun of him or trying to help him or trying to help him to dissimulate or, you know, divide from the religious side to the rock and roll side. I don't know what he's trying to do in this interview, but I think Little Richard handled it well, you know. So let's go ahead and continue. I just thought I'd stop it there and put my little 2 cents in right there. It's like he's trying to either confuse him in this interview or he's trying to help him relay the message to the audience that he's a changed man.
Baptist?
Well, I wasn't.
The Baptists in those days probably didn't want women wearing makeup. Did they?
Well, in those days, some of them didn't know what they was wearing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is, I wasn't really a religious person. I was a young boy. I wanted to be famous so bad, and I really wanted a Cadillac.
Uh-huh.
Lloyd Price. Lord Christ came to my hometown, and he had a Cadillac, and so I wanted to sing and get me a Cadillac. I wanted to be famous for one purpose, to get a Cadillac.
Just to get the Cadillac.
The longest Cadillac in my hometown was owned by the funeral home, and you had to die to ride.
Yeah, that's no fun getting it that way.
And I was determined not to die.
All right, we're going to continue with Little Richard. We'll be back in a minute or two. Oh, Cinnamon, of course, is Little Richard, and that was that's the song right there, wasn't it?
Yeah, my Lucia.
And have these songs been wealthy man?
Oh, it's
Oh, this.
oh, my managers are very rich,
Yeah,
sitting on hills. Some of them falling off the hills now.
Uh-huh.
The storms are pushing some of them off. But I made a lot of money, but I was cheated. I was used. I was exploited. You know, fella came to Macon, Georgia, and got me and told.
And I want to say this before we go any further, that Michael Jackson got all his royalties back and his masters and gave them to Little Richard, so he was able to maintain his lifestyle. You know, eat a little better, live a little better, because he got his masters and everything back. So that's a check mark for Michael Jackson for helping Little Richard get his masters and royalties back. I don't know if he lost his royalty, but I do know he didn't have his masters. So Michael gave him his masters back. And that's a salute to Michael Jackson. So I thought I'd add that in there.
Told me he'd make me a star. I wanted to be a star more than I got the money.
Yeah.
So he's rich. I didn't get rich from it, but
You're doing okay now, though.
I
mean,
mean,
you're not, yeah.
God is good to me. God is a good. I'm not Reverend Ike.
No, I know that.
But God has been good, you know, because I don't tell people they're going to have no pie in the sky by and by. I've had enough pie down here. When I go to heaven, I'm just going to be with Jesus.
Let me ask you about one thing, and then we have some videotape of you in action. When you were a young boy, you were tossed out of your own home, eh?
Yes.
How does this happen?
Well, my daddy, we had 12 kids. My daddy's name is Charles Penniman, and we called him Bud. But I wouldn't obey my father. I didn't obey my father. I didn't do what he wanted me to do, and so he told me I had to get out.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Richard, I was gay, and he says that I wanted 7 boys, and you are messing it up.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother's name was Charles, so I would go out in the yard and call him. I had a high voice. I would say, Charles! He said, I'm going to kill you tonight. He said, I'm going to call. I was playing, so my people didn't like it. So my dad said, you either follow this rule or get out.
Yeah.
So I got out because I wanted to wear all of my stones.
Now, hit the road then when he tossed you out.
I was old enough to go in the streets because I had to find a place. My mother didn't want me to go. I was about 17, 16.
Now,
17.
is your father still alive?
No, Dad is dead. He didn't live to see my fame or nothing. And
Did you ever get this worked out, or was it a problem the rest
Oh,
of your life?
no, but God gave me the victory. I'm not gay now, but, I was gay all my life. I believe I was one of the first gay people to come out. But God let me know that he made Adam to be with Eve, not Steve. So I gave my heart to Christ.
But let me add, you keep saying one provocative thing after another. You used to be gay, but now you're not.
I'm not. I'm a man for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I know how you feel now.
This is more and more fascinating new term. I'd like to ask you now. I have to ask you this though. Did you ever one time make Johnny Carson get out of his chair?
Yes, I took a costume on for him to put on, and I told him I wanted to do something I'd never done before, and I ran through the audience, and I told him I've always wanted to host a show, and I asked him up, and he let me get up. He got up out of his seat, and I took his seat. Yes, I did.
We should, I guess, establish now what you're doing. We've mentioned what you have done and what you mean in music history. What are you doing now?
Well, I'm an evangelist now, David. I travel over the world preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, and I became a drug addict. I was on heroin. I was I had another friend of mine that I went to his house to get some cocaine. My birthday is December the 5th. On my birthday, he fell dead. I had another friend of mine that some fellows put in a trunk and cut him up with a butcher knife. Ike and Tina Turner had an engagement in Miami, and I went into Tina's place. My brother fell dead, and then I made a vow to God that I wanted to do something in his service. And God said, what shall it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? So I was determined to give my life to Christ before it's too late, because I could be dead. You know, Elvis was a very good friend of mine, Buddy Holly, Jimi Hendrix, all these people, and God has spared my life. If a person see me, they can see that I am a new creature. If any man be in Christ, God made me all over again.
But are you a satisfied person now? Are you sometimes you don't get the urge to go back out and crank out some hits and
No, I'm happy now. I've made a lot of hits, but I'm happy now because I have peace of mind, and that peace that passeth all understanding, and it's just peace that you can't get nowhere.
Gregory's here apparently. Huh? There was some speculation that Gregory might not make it. You're going to sing this, right, Rich?
All right, I'm gonna end this program. I just wanted to do this. I don't know why I did it, but for some reason I needed to do it, and I did it. So I appreciate y'all for listening. This is Everything Black. Look forward to seeing y'all again. Let me add my little music. If you see me on YouTube, like and subscribe. See me on Facebook, like and subscribe. I would appreciate that. And once again, thank y'all for joining me. Everything Black. Enjoy yourself. Hopefully you have a lovely, peaceful day, night. See y'all again next time. Thank you for joining me.